You didn't just arrive at this video by chance. There's a reason you press play, and that reason has nothing to do with coincidence. Something beneath the surface of your reality has been stirring, quietly but insistently. Something you haven't been able to fully name, but you can sense it. A subtle restlessness, an anticipation that won't let you settle. It's like standing on the edge of a cliff, heart pounding, knowing a leap is coming, yet having no certainty about where you'll land. What I'm about to walk you through isn't fluffy inspiration or wishful thinking. It comes from recognizing patterns that repeat across countless lives, from carefully observing what happens right before someone's world changes forever. There's a specific sequence that always seems to unfold before the biggest breakthroughs. But the truth is, most people miss it because they're watching for the wrong signs. As you sit here listening, you're in what I call the recognition phase. Something inside you has begun to detect that a powerful shift is underway in your life. You can't see the whole picture yet, but you can feel it. It's like staring through heavy fog. You know shapes exist beyond it, but their details remain just out of reach. And here's the thing hardly anyone tells you about life-altering shifts. They rarely arrive with trumpets or fireworks. They don't show up neatly packaged, right when you think you're ready. Instead, they slip into your awareness through the side door, wearing the disguise of ordinary moments that feel slightly strange, charged with a meaning you can't quite translate. Chances are, you've already noticed these strange interruptions in your routine. Maybe it was a brief interaction with a stranger that lingered with you far longer than it should have. Maybe it's dreams that don't fade when you wake, but instead echo in your mind for days. Maybe it's the repetition of numbers on clocks, receipts, and license plates, or encountering the same type of person again and again in different settings. These aren't accidents. They're small signals, breadcrumbs dropped to guide you towards something much larger that has been orchestrated long before your conscious mind caught up. The first stage of this hidden sequence is what I call dissolution. This is the part where the things that have been quietly holding you back begin to unravel, not with explosions or grand drama, but with a steady dismantling of the old frameworks that no longer align with who you're becoming. Relationships may suddenly feel strained without any clear reason. People you once laughed with easily may now feel like they're speaking a different language altogether. Conversations that used to energize you suddenly seem hollow. It's not that you're rejecting others. It's that you're stepping into a version of yourself that needs deeper, truer, more resonant connections. Work, too, begins to feel different. That job that once felt safe or even exciting might now feel like a cage. Tasks that used to challenge you suddenly drain your energy. You catch yourself staring out of windows, caught in daydreams about futures you can't quite name but desperately want to touch. The comforts you used to cling to start losing their shine. The shows that once consumed your evenings feel dull after just a few minutes. Foods you used to crave don't excite you anymore. Even the hobbies that once defined your free time feel like distractions, diversions pulling you away from something far more important. And this is the point where many people panic. They try to patch together what's falling apart. They force conversations that are naturally fading. They push themselves harder into work that no longer stirs them. They hold tight to routines that have quietly lost all meaning. But this stage isn't meant to be resisted. It's meant to be surrendered to. Life is creating empty space for you. Space that must be cleared before something greater can be built. You can't pour fresh water into a cracked container. The old vessel of your life needs to be released before the new one can hold what's coming. The second stage is the amplification effect. Suddenly, your entire system becomes more sensitive, more aware. Colors appear more vibrant. Music cuts deeper into your emotions. Conversations carry layers of meaning you didn't notice before. Even the most mundane moments seem infused with significance. Your intuition sharpens beyond anything you've experienced. You start knowing things without evidence or explanation. You walk into a room and feel the atmosphere before a word is spoken. You meet someone and understand their essence immediately. You trust decisions that come from instinct, and again, those instincts prove right. Dreams grow richer, more symbolic, more instructive. You wake up with solutions to problems you hadn't even consciously worked on. You dream of conversations that feel more authentic than many you have while awake. The wall separating your conscious and subconscious mind begins to dissolve in ways that feel extraordinary. Amplification has a purpose. It's training you to hold the magnitude of what's coming. Think of it as conditioning your inner world for an Olympic-level challenge. You wouldn't just step onto a track and sprint without preparation. Your nervous system, your awareness, your emotional depth, they're all being stretched to expand your capacity for what's ahead. During this time, you might cry over a song, laugh uncontrollably at something small, or feel overwhelmed by beauty you used to overlook. You may think you're becoming too emotional, but the opposite is true. You're becoming fully alive, opening yourself to the entire range of experience life offers. Then comes the third phase, the preview. Here, life begins handing you glimpses of what lies ahead. Not the full story, just snippets, sneak peeks, tastes of what's waiting for you beyond the threshold. Maybe you have a conversation that sparks an idea for a path you'd never considered. Maybe you stumble into an activity and discover a hidden talent. Maybe you travel somewhere new and feel an uncanny sense of belonging, as if you've known that place all your life. These aren't coincidences. They're carefully placed previews meant to prepare you for what's coming. They're rehearsals that tune your senses so you'll recognize the real opportunity when it appears in full. And here's the trap. Most people mistake the preview for the full experience. They meet someone intriguing and rush into a relationship. They find a new interest and immediately try to build their identity around it. They taste clarity and immediately try to redesign their entire life. But this stage isn't about leaping. It's about listening. It's about becoming familiar with the frequency of your next chapter so you can recognize it later, even in the noise. Think of it like memorizing a melody. You have to know the tune before you can hear it clearly in a crowded room. These previews are also tests. They measure how you respond when you glimpse something greater. Do you clutch at it? Do you dismiss it as fantasy? Or can you simply receive it with gratitude, letting it stretch your sense of possibility without forcing it to become something it isn't yet? Your responses here shape your speed of progress, because next comes the hardest stage of all, the final resistance. This is where most people stumble. Just before your breakthrough fully takes shape, your old identity fights to pull you back. It's not outside enemies or circumstances. It's the part of you that's terrified of transformation, even if it's positive. This inner resistance is clever. It sounds reasonable. It will summon logical arguments for why your path isn't realistic. It will remind you of past failures, whisper that people like you don't get lives like this, insist you should be satisfied with what you already have. Resistance also echoes through those around you, not because they wish you harm, but because your evolution unsettles their comfort. When your vibration changes, it forces others to feel the friction of their own stagnation. They may tug you back toward the familiar, without even realizing it. Suddenly, conversations with family may grow strained. Friends who once encouraged you may become skeptical. Colleagues who once felt like allies may seem oddly irritated. It's not that you've done something wrong. It's that your growth is shaking their certainty. In this stage, doubt feels heavier than ever. You question your own experiences. You wonder if you're imagining patterns, if you've been fooling yourself. You start considering settling for less, convincing yourself the dream was unrealistic. This is the breaking point where many give up. The discomfort of the unknown feels sharper than the dull ache of the familiar. They decide the breakthrough is for other people, that they should play small, be realistic. But if you're hearing this now, it's because you're not most people. Something in you knows this message carries truth. You've traveled too far to quit here. And here's the paradox. The stronger the resistance, the closer the breakthrough. The magnitude of the pushback reveals the magnitude of the life waiting just beyond it. What feels like a wall is actually confirmation that you're almost through. To survive this phase, remember 3 things. First, expect resistance. Don't be shocked by it. It's not proof you're failing. It's the final test before arrival. Second, transmute resistance into energy. Every doubt and fear can be fuel to propel you forward. And third, hold your vision, because resistance is temporary, but surrendering to it can create permanent regret. In this period, even your sense of time may warp. Minutes stretch, days blur, yet single moments feel eternal. That's because you're straddling 2 timelines at once, the one where you're still becoming, and the one where you've already stepped into your new reality. You're not imagining this distortion. It's what happens on the edge of profound transformation. You're being given the space to integrate lessons, to reshape your identity, to start believing in the version of you that doesn't struggle for scraps, but naturally attracts abundance, opportunity, and alignment. It's a birth process, messy, painful, exhausting, but also miraculous. The self you've carried until now is dissolving. The self you're meant to be is emerging. And like any true birth, it demands you push past the point you think you can't survive. And here's the deeper truth. This process isn't just about becoming successful. It's about becoming someone stable enough, wise enough, expansive enough to hold success and multiply it into something greater, not only for yourself, but for the lives you'll impact. Because this isn't just about you getting what you want. It's about you becoming who you were meant to be. Someone capable of contributing, serving, and creating at a higher level. So, if these stages sound familiar, if the signs I've described feel like they're unfolding in your own story right now, then understand this. This isn't coincidence. You didn't stumble here randomly. You were led here because you're ready to see clearly what's been happening within and around you. The dissolution, the amplification, the previews, the resistance, they're not random events. They're parts of one seamless sequence designed to shape you into someone who can step into their breakthrough fully prepared. Every setback you've faced has stretched your capacity. Every doubt you've survived has strengthened your faith. Every moment you nearly quit but chose not to has proven, to yourself and to the universe, that you are ready for what's next. Your breakthrough isn't just possible, it's already in motion, and it's closer than you think. The synchronicities, the heightened sensitivity, the dreams, the obstacles, the glimpses of what could be, they're not random. They're markers on the path, confirmation that the shift is unfolding exactly as it should. So trust it. Trust the process. Trust yourself. And remember, you weren't meant to hear this message by accident. You were meant to hear it now, in this very moment, right before it finally happens. Because when it does, you'll look back and realize every twist, every challenge, every strange sign was part of the same path, the path that carried you here.